This video is about something that doesn't make sense once you actually slow down and look at it. You give incredible advice. Clear.com. Almost obviously correct. Every single time someone else brings you their problem. You probably think that means you're just better at fixing other people's lives than your own. Maybe you tell yourself you're a hypocrite, or lazy, or that you simply lack the discipline to do what you already clearly know is right. Here's the contrarian truth, and it's a relief once you hear it. This has almost nothing to do with discipline. It has everything to do with how your brain decides, in real time, who counts as a threat and who doesn't. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why this happens, broken into 3 specific layers. And more importantly, you'll walk away with one practical tool you can use today to finally start applying your own advice to your own life. Let's start with a scene that's probably happened to you in the last month. A friend messages you about their job. They're miserable, underpaid, underappreciated, coming home every night with nothing left. You reply almost instantly. You tell they, gently but firmly, that they deserve better. That staying is costing them more than leaving ever could. That sometimes the safest choice is actually the most dangerous one. They thank you. They feel shin. They start looking at job listings that same week. You, meanwhile, have been in a job exactly like that for over a year. Same exhaustion, same quiet resentment, same feeling of being underused and overworked. And you haven't updated your resume once. That gap between what you tell other people and what you actually do for yourself, that's not a character flaw. It's a pattern, and it's worth understanding. Here's the first layer behind it. Your brain isn't actually built to make you happy. It's built to keep you safe, and those 2 goals are not the same thing, even though it feels like they should be. Think of it like having a bodyguard living inside your skull. A bodyguard's job isn't to help you grow, take risks, or build a better life. A bodyguard's only job is to prevent anything bad from happening to you right now. So when you think about quitting your job, leaving a relationship, or having a hard conversation, your bodyguard brain doesn't calculate long-term well-being. It calculates immediate risk. This is why you can tell your friend, leave the job, without a flicker of hesitation, while your own resignation letter has been sitting, half-written, in your notes app for months. Their risk isn't your risk. Your bodyguard brain has nothing to protect there. But the moment it's your job on the line, the bodyguard steps in front of the door and tells you to sit back down. This matters because once you see this pattern, you stop calling yourself weak. You start recognizing that hesitation as a specific, predictable function, not a flaw in your personality, a feature of your wiring. But the bodyguard isn't the only thing standing in your way. Here's the second layer, and this one runs even deeper. Somewhere along the way, you built a story about who you are. Maybe you're the reliable one. Maybe you're the strong one. Maybe you're the one who doesn't complain. And your brain treats that story almost like a contract it has to defend, even when the contract is quietly ruining your life. Here's what that looks like in practice. If you've spent years being the dependable friend who always shows up, you'll struggle to ask for help, even when you're drowning, because asking would break the version of you that everyone, including yourself, has come to expect. If you've spent years being patient, you'll keep tolerating a relationship or a job long after it stopped deserving your patience. Because walking away feels less like a decision and more like an identity crisis. This is the part nobody talks about. You're not failing to take your own advice because you don't understand it. You understood it well enough to hand it to your friend in under a minute. You're failing to take it because acting on it would require becoming someone slightly different than the person you've already decided you are. And to your brain, that feels more dangerous than staying miserable inside a role that no longer fits. This is why insight alone never changes anything. Insight tells you what to do. Identity decides whether you're allowed to do it. So if the bodyguard brain and the identity story are working against you, what actually works? Here's the third layer. And this one comes with an actual tool. Psychologists have a name for the exact pattern you've been watching all video. It's called Solomon's Paradox, named after the biblical king, famous for extraordinary wisdom. He never seemed to apply to his own choices. Researchers at the University of Waterloo tested this directly. People reasoned with far more clarity, nuance, and wisdom about other people's problems than about their own. Same brain, same intelligence, wildly different output. The reason is something called psychological distance. When you're advising a friend, you're not inside the emotional storm. You can see the whole situation clearly because none of the danger belongs to you. Here's the application, and it's simpler than it sounds. The next time you're stuck on a decision, write it down as if it belongs to someone else. Literally start the sentence with my friend. is dealing with this. Describe the situation in the third person, in as much detail as you would for someone you actually love. Then ask yourself, in that same sentence, what you would tell them to do. This works because your brain doesn't fully distinguish between real distance and imagined distance. The moment you frame the problem as someone else's, your bodyguard relaxes its grip slightly, and the same clear-headed advisor you become for everyone else finally shows up for you too. This matters because it means the wisdom was never missing. You don't need to become a different person to fix your life. You need to borrow the exact clarity you already give away for free. And finally, turn it back toward yourself. You already know what to say. You've proven that to every person who's ever come to you with a problem. The only thing left is deciding that you're allowed to hear it too.